worked with adding, subtracting matrices, multiplying them by a number. We solved some equations.
I have a good reason for this.
Come on now.
Okay, what's the reason?
Come
It's
on,
always a
Natalie.
good reason.
Let's hear it.
I just don't believe
Okay,
it, bro.
well, I had to switch pairs with Emma because
We are going to talk about multiplying matrices. When we multiply with matrices, we actually have to take a row times a column. So yesterday we talked about what a row and a column is. When you take a row times a column, you will get a single answer. So what you do is you multiply the corresponding numbers. So 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 5 times 4, and 2 times negative 5, and then we add all those together. So we get negative 21. So when you take a row times a column, you actually get only one answer.
Easy money.
Okay.
For the 20, 10 by 10.
So that's the thing. With these matrices, we have to talk about how big our final answer will be. So it's not the same as before where we just said they have to be the same size in order to add or subtract. That is not the case with multiplying. But there is a quick way that we will be able to check to see if we can multiply two matrices. Everybody ready? So, for it to work, the number of columns in the first must equal the number of rows in the second. Okay, ignore this for a minute. I'm going to show you with actual numbers here in a second. But if you want to write something down here, and this might be one of the Math Excel questions, the number of columns in the first has to be the same as the number of rows in the second in order for us to be able to multiply two matrices. So let's say I have one matrix that's a 2 by 3 and one that's a 3 by 5. And I want to know if I can multiply them. What we just said is number of columns in the first has to equal the number of rows in the second. Remember from yesterday when I put this, it's rows by columns. So the number of columns in the first has to equal the number of rows in the second. So what you can do is just write your dimensions side by side. If these middle numbers match, we can multiply them. The answer will be the outside dimension. So my final matrix will be a 2 by 5 matrix. Okay. So if I took a 2 by 3 times a 3 by 5, we will get a 2 by 5 for our answer. Could I multiply them in reverse order? Could I do the 3 by 5 times the 2 by 3?
no.
No, because these middle ones don't match. So order actually matters when we're multiplying matrices. It's a little bit different than regular multiplication with numbers. So the order will make a difference here. So when I give you a problem, the first thing I'm always going to do is write out my dimensions. And then we're going to make sure we can multiply it. And we'll see what we get for our final answer. So let's try a problem. Okay, so here are two matrices, A and B. We first have to see if we can multiply it. So to do that, just check your dimensions. Rows by columns. So matrix A is 2 rows and 3 columns. Matrix B is 3 rows and 4 columns. So these match, So we can multiply. How big will my final matrix be? 2 by 4. That means 2 rows, 4 columns. So to get this, we are going to multiply rows by columns. So this is all row 1. To get these answers, we are going to be multiplying by row 1. So for the first one, we have to do row 1 times column 1. So if you like to do it on your calculator, you can grab your calculator and kind of plug in things. So we have to do the 2 times 2, which is 4, plus the 4 times 4, plus -1 times -3 is 3. So 4 plus 16 plus 3 is 23. Okay, then we just move down the columns. So now I'm going to take row 1 times column 2. So 2 times 5, 4 times 8, -1 times 1, and so we get 41. You guys see how I'm getting these?
Why did you take -1 times 1?
The third numbers.
Oh, okay.
So we move down the columns. So now I'm going to multiply by this column. So I have 2 times 1, 4 times 0, -1 times -2. Add those together and we get 4. Last ones. So 2 times 4, 8. 4 times 6, 24. -1 times -1 is +1. And we get 33. Everybody with me so far? So now we need the second row of my matrix, so I'm going to have to multiply by the second row here. So we multiply our first ones. So 5 times 2, 8 times 4, and 0 times -3 is 0, so we get 42. And we do the next column, just working our way down. So 5 times 5, 25, 8 times 8, 64, 0 times 1 is 0, 89. Next column. So 5 times 1 is 5, 8 times 0 is 0, 0 times -2 is 0, and we get 5. And then the last column. So we get 20 plus 48 plus 0, which is 68. So it's a little more time consuming, not necessarily difficult, it's just multiplying and adding. You just have to keep track of where you are. All right. Questions there? Okay. Let's say I gave you so, could we multiply here?
Yeah.
Yes. The size of the first one is 2 by 2. Second one is
2 by 2.
2 by 2, so these match, so we can multiply, and our final answer will be
2 by 2.
2 by 2. So we have to get 4 numbers here. Okay, so how do I get the first one? First row times the first column. So 1 times 6 is 6, 2 times 1 is 2, 6 plus 2, 8. Okay, here, we're still in the first row, so we're multiplying first row by the second column. -2 plus 10, which is 8. Okay, second row, first column, so -24 plus 0 is -24.
So, then
I'm not showing as much work, did I lose you? I just multiplied this row and that column. So -4 times 6
Oh, okay, no, you're right.
and 0 times 6. Okay. So then we have to do this row times this column. So 8 plus 0, which is 8.
Oh, okay.
Is this okay?
Yep.
Yes.
C.
What if I gave you?
That was fake. I know those fake colors.
That was very
Even she knew that was a fake color. It's pretty quiet. So loud.
So what's the first one? 2 by 3. Second one, 2 by 3. Can I multiply?
No.
No. So my answer is just no solution. We cannot multiply those. Alright. Do I need to do more multiplication? Okay, do you guys just want to try them and see how you do? Okay, so there's a Math Excel assignment posted, and you've got 36 minutes or